being negligent. Are you guys able to, Mrs. Hackett, are you able to talk about the allegations? Why didn't you call police? Why didn't you call 000?
That couple allegedly left the house and their kids alone inside about 2 minutes before the fire alarms went off. The smoke detectors went off. They were on their way out. Police allege that Lee, upon hearing these screams, instead of calling 000, she called her mother. There's some conversation about Lee suggesting that she heard screaming on the CCTV in the minutes after she left. Wayne Flower here reporting. As you can see, I'm on the banks of the Murray River up on the border of Victoria and New South Wales. I'm in a little town called Echuca. Well, it's not so little, but across the river is the town of Moama, where a woman named Shania Lee is currently residing with her mother. Now, Lee was bailed the other day until January 15, where she is due back in court. She's accused of the negligent manslaughter of her own children. Now, this week there were some developments in this incident, this saga, if you will. Her boyfriend at the time, a gentleman called Matt McAuliffe, was also charged with the exact same charges as Lee. Now, McAuliffe, unlike Lee, is in jail. He has been behind bars for some time on unrelated charges. So he will now appear on the same day as Lee to face justice, if you will, over these allegations. Now, the Daily Mail hopes to have a conversation with Lee about the allegations. They are allegations at this stage, and she has employed a top Melbourne lawyer. His name is Sam Norton. Now, Mr. Norton has defended some very high-profile criminals in his day, and he managed to secure Lee bail. Now, he did that pretty much off the back that the negligent manslaughter charges, they're a fairly new charge here in this state, and it's a pretty high hurdle to get convictions on those charges. So he secured Lee bail, and here she will remain throughout the Christmas period until her next court hearing. Now, police claim that Lee and her boyfriend McAuliffe left their home in Sydenham on the night of this incident. Now, Sydenham is in the western suburbs of Melbourne, some probably 250 odd kilometres from where I'm standing right now. Now, the allegation is that those two left their children. There was 3 children at home. You had Isabel, who was 5, Livia, and little Kayla, who survived the fire, the only one to have survived that fire. They have travelled out, allegedly, to steal a car door for Lee's vehicle. Now, police allege that there was a CCTV camera set up within that home, and that Lee may have watched that CCTV as they were leaving on that night. They've intercepted some prison calls, allegedly, between McAuliffe and Lee, where there's some conversation about Lee suggesting that she heard screaming on the CCTV in the minutes after she left. Now, CCTV captured from outside that home shows that that couple allegedly left the house and their kids alone inside about 2 minutes before the fire alarms went off. The smoke detectors went off. They were on their way out. Police allege that Lee, upon hearing these screams, instead of calling 000, she called her mother, who she's now residing with across the river in Moama. Police said this was an aggravating factor when they opposed bail. Of course, we know now the police didn't get their way and Lee was released back into the community. So I'm outside the Echuca police station. We're about 3 kilometres away from where Shania Lee is currently residing with her mother in Moama. It's just across the Murray River in New South Wales. It's a beautiful walk. Here you walk past the bakery, past the pub, and Lee has to report into this police station 3 times a week up until her next court appearance in January. You might think that that's a bit of an inconvenience, but her co-accused, Matt McAuliffe, he's currently in jail.
Yeah, it's daylight here now outside the Echuca police station. We've been up bright and early. The check-in times for bail are between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. the plan is to try to get Lee as she enters or leaves the police station. Now, these jobs don't always go as planned. She may or may not attend to check in for bail. We'll wait and see. Failing that, we'll attend her home and knock on the door and see how we go there. Now, while I'm sitting out here, I just want to tell you all a little bit about the charge, negligent manslaughter. It's a fairly recent charge here in Victoria. You don't see it a lot of times, and you don't see many convictions for it. At the moment, we have 2 police officers who have been charged with negligent manslaughter over the tragic death of a person they were allegedly attempting to arrest in the western suburbs of Hoppers Crossing. Now, that gentleman died, and those 2 police officers are now going through the motions similar to what Shania Lee is facing here. You'll often see it charged in workplaces where managers and that are charged with negligent manslaughter. It's an offence that carries like a 20-year sentence, and it really revolves mostly around a breach of trust. So the allegation here is that Lee's behaviour in the allegation that she left that home contributed to the death of her children. So the police have put together a brief of evidence. You can imagine it's a pretty comprehensive brief. It took them about a year to lay these charges, and now, it's before the courts, and we'll see how it all plays out.
Shania, Wayne Flower from Daily Mail. You able to talk about the allegations that police make about you? About being negligent? You guys able to... Mrs. Hackett, are you able to talk about the allegations? Why didn't you call police? Why didn't you call 000?
So that's how the story ends for now. Shania Lee, as you saw, obviously wasn't too keen on having a chat with me. There were some pretty uncomfortable questions about some pretty uncomfortable circumstances. Her mother, Lynn Hackett, she works here at the local Echuca Council, also wasn't pleased to see us, and both got in the car and drove away. I'm now on the banks of the Murray River over in Moama on the New South Wales side. Shania Lee will live in this beautiful wilderness environment at least until January 15, when she is scheduled back in court again to face those very serious charges. And of course, we here at the Daily Mail will be all across that case and continue to follow it as it progresses through the Victorian justice system.